Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the vlog. If you're new here, my name is Jeffrey. I normally do videos on my Dodge Challenger RT, Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is lifted and it's a project vehicle for the channel. But today we're going to be doing something completely different. I want to talk to you guys about my hometown, Buffalo, New York. Now this is a different style video. I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm doing this video for people if you're trying to look up what's it like living in Western New York? What's it like living in Buffalo, New York? What's it like just kind of in this whole region, just kind of like, you know, from a person's perspective who's lived here pretty much their entire life. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a couple key points. If you're thinking about moving here, living here, or if you're just curious about, you know, what's it like living here. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First thing about living here in the Western New York area. The good thing is though, we actually do get 4 seasons. Because I know inside different areas, inside the country, sometimes you just have pretty much summer or it's just kind of, you know, one climate throughout the entire year. For us, we actually do get, you know, pretty much the 4 seasons. So we do have a winter, which, you know, that's what we're pretty much known for. We are known to get snow, especially in the South towns. So south of this region, like Buffalo, in the South towns, they get a little bit more snow than we do up in the North towns. It's just lake effect snow. But we do actually have a really nice fall and a really nice spring. And, you know, recently we've been getting pretty good summers as well. So the temperature, it can range from, you know, 70s to 80s during the summer. And then in the winter, you know, on the cold, you know, the absolute coldest days, it will be below 0 with a wind chill. But, you know, generally speaking, we do have nice summers, we do have pretty nice falls, and we do have, you know, kind of brutal winters. Now, the good thing is, though, with the winter here, since we pretty much, you know, we're used to having winter here, everyone around here pretty much knows how to drive inside snow, so it's not really that big of a deal. Since it does snow here, we do have a pretty good plowing system. So the plows, they clear the streets actually pretty quickly. So worst comes to worst, if it's like a pretty good snowstorm, by the next day, the streets are pretty much cleared. And even if we get like a couple inches of snow, that same day, the streets are pretty much being cleared immediately. So that is a nice thing. I mean, yeah, it does suck. We do get snow, but it could be a lot worse inside other climates or other parts of the country where they don't get snow as much. If they just get like a couple inches, it's like a real big deal. But for us, we can get, you know, 6 inches of snow, like, you know, over just a quick, you know, couple hours, and the streets will be pretty much cleared in like no time. So it's not all that bad. Now, the other cool thing is though, since we do get the 4 actual seasons, there are stuff to do outside, inside all of the seasons. In the summer, we have Canal Side. You can go down there. You can go downtown. In the winter time, you know, there's like sledding. You can even go to Holiday Valley, do skiing. We have a lot of stuff, and you can do ice skating downtown as well. There's a lot of different things you can do throughout the 4 seasons. In the fall, we do have a pumpkin patch, even though it's not super large, but it is something nice that we can do. So we do have stuff you can do pretty much all year round. There's something you can do outside. Speaking of things to do, Buffalo itself, the actual core city, it's well under 1 million people. It's actually like 275,000, a little bit more than that. But with all the surrounding areas together, it's around 1 million. So like basically all of like Erie County, it's about 1 million people. Now when you put that in perspective, that's actually like not that large, considering, you know, like Chicago and like all these other cities have like multiple millions of people. So Buffalo isn't the largest city, but that actually can be a benefit, just because the fact of there's more space and more things that you can do. It's not always so overcrowded. With that, the average commuting time here is around 20 minutes, and that's not that bad considering the nation average. I think it's like 28 minutes or something like that. It's really not that bad here. So really, like, it's only the main highways. If you avoid like rush hour, like 7 a.m. and like 4 to 5 p.m. I mean, granted, you know, if you work that shift and you need to use the highway, it is what it is. But if you avoid those times, those are really like the only times when it's super bad traffic. And even with that, it's never really bumper to bumper traffic on the highway unless there's an accident or in case something else happens. Just inside normal rush hour traffic, it's just areas of congestion. So really, it's not all that bad. If you avoid the super busy times, you know, you'll be fine. But it's usually just congested areas, and once you get past that area, it opens up again. So it's really not that bad. Now for myself, my personal commute is actually around 20 minutes. Yeah, like literally like 20 minutes. I live way up north, like north of Buffalo, and just heading down towards Buffalo, but I don't fully go into Buffalo. Yeah, like for me, I take a lot of like back roads, and I try to avoid the highway. So for me, it's like 20 minutes, if that. We actually live about 3 miles from the Canadian border, so we're like way up north, like near Niagara Falls, New York. So that's above, actually, you know, the city. Oh yeah, my fiance, I know, she has to drive all the way through Buffalo to get to her job and to drive to kind of like the suburbs areas. And I know for her, it takes around 40 minutes without traffic and like an hour if there is traffic. So just to give you guys kind of the perspective, just depending on, you know, how far you have to actually travel. And now we're talking about the homes and like living here. Now, rent, I actually just did a quick search and I was just trying to like look up, you know, what's the rent here. Rent here in this area, like if you want to live in the city, like downtown, and that's going to be more on the high end of things. You could be paying, you know, upwards of $1,000. Some of the nicer lofts downtown could range up to like $2,000. In my opinion, I wouldn't pay that living here in Buffalo, but you know, if you want to, you know, have a really nice loft downtown, you can do that. This just range, you know, from the actual city. Then when you go out to like the suburb areas, you know, rent could be as low as $500, just depending on where you live and how nice of the area you want to live in. But you know, you can expect in that range. Homes could be from, you know, starter homes here, you know, probably not like downtown, like the more desirable areas, but kind of like even if you want to live like in the city, there are certain areas you can buy houses for like $30,000. They're not going to be the greatest areas, but if you want to like have like a real nice starter home in like the suburb areas, you can find houses for like $150,000, you know, and then it can go all the way up. You know, you got the mansions that are like downtown, in the downtown area, you know, could be over $1 million, or out inside the suburbs, you know, like way out in the suburbs, maybe not super way out, but like out in the suburbs they can go up to, you know, a couple $1 million. It just depends on the type of house that you're looking for. But this area is a nice area though. If you're looking to buy a house, you can find, you know, a really nice house here for not that much money. And, you know, that is a benefit of actually living here. That's one of the few benefits actually of living here. You can purchase a house and, you know, you can have a decent sized house with actually a decent sized backyard, just depending on where you buy the house. If you're in the city, your backyard space is not going to be that large, but the further you go out, just depending on the area, you get more land and you get, you know, a little bit more bang for your buck. Speaking of downtown, now if you want to do the more in the city type of living, like living downtown, like being downtown, you know, what can you expect? Now the good thing about here, we do have a actual subway system that goes from downtown like all the way out, and we have, you know, the public bus system, so we have the metro system, and we have Ubers and Lyfts, so stuff like that. So if you're like going out, you want to like go to a restaurant or go to like a bar or something like that, you don't really need to bring your car with you. We have plenty of like transportation. It just depending on where you live. But speaking of that though, if you are going to live here, I would suggest that you do have a car, just because of things to do. If you want to just live downtown, you can, and you don't really want a car, you could live that lifestyle if that's what you want to do. Just know that it's going to be a little more expensive because you do have to take the public transportation system, and all of these shopping centers that are downtown for like groceries and stuff like that, it's going to be more expensive. If you do have a car, you can, you know, drive out literally 10 minutes out of downtown. You're going to find much cheaper groceries, and just everything else is going to be just cheaper if you drive literally like 10 minutes out of the downtown area, which our downtown area really isn't all that big. But going back to the kind of nightlife and stuff like that, we do have, you know, bars and clubs and stuff like that that are downtown or inside the city. So once again, you don't really need a car. There's Uber, there's Lyft or stuff like that. You can take public transportation. But, you know, I would suggest if you are going to live here, have a car, because there are many things you can do that are outside of the city and kind of inside the little suburb sections or the villages that are outside of the city that you will want to do. And it just makes things so much easier to have a car to just drive, you know, out. And yeah, parking here, you can park pretty much anywhere. You know, if even downtown, like on like busy days, like during actual like events, parking is going to be more expensive. It could be like $20-25 for event parking. But that's, you know, rare occasions if there's a Sabers game that's downtown. But with that, most people, they do the parking ride where they park their car and then they get on the subway and take it into the city. And then after the game, get on the subway and take it out. And then that's the other cool thing though about the city. We actually have, you know, two major sports teams. We have the Sabers and we have the Buffalo Bills. The Bills technically don't play in the city. They play out in Orchard Park, which actually other sporting teams do that for other cities. Some of them, they don't physically play in the city, but they're like in the suburbs of the city. And that's kind of what we have too. So, once again, if you want to have a car to drive out to the Bills game, stuff like that, you kind of want that. And then the other thing though is the job market. Now, just doing a quick search, trying to see, before I was doing this video, I did a quick search to see what type of jobs are out there in this area. Now, we are definitely a booming city for healthcare stuff. So, we have the college where a lot of people come here actually to do healthcare, just education. So, and we do have a lot of healthcare stuff here. So if you're in the healthcare business, this is a pretty good place to be. The other thing, just looking up, trying to figure out, what other emerging jobs or emerging industries are here. This city does have its roots in more of a blue collar type of industry, same as Detroit. We're kind of like more of a blue collar type of city. But I will say Buffalo, in at least like in my lifetime, I've definitely seen the city is trying to become a little bit more progressive, a little bit more just moving forward, and there is surprisingly a good number of other emerging job businesses that are coming up. Like us, for example, my fiance, she's in the healthcare industry, and when she was looking for different positions, it was actually like a lot of positions that were open, at different hospitals and stuff like that, and different like businesses. So yeah, if you're in the healthcare industry, there are plenty of jobs out here. And then for me, example, I'm in the more digital marketing and like website design and that type of, sphere. It is a little bit more limited, even though when I was just looking online, just trying to see like what else is out here just for research, I did actually just see, there's some, jobs, or there is some growth in that industry here. It's not as large as somewhere where it's much more of a tech city, but surprisingly, there is actually some potential to find a job here. And even for one of our other friends who is a actual programmer, he was able to find different jobs here at multiple different companies. So there are jobs here. It's just going to be a little bit harder to try to find them in the more tech industry. But if you're definitely inside the healthcare industry, there's going to be plenty of stuff here for you. Sorry guys, yeah, it actually turns out my camera just overheated, so I kind of have to finish up this section inside a different area. And also I realized throughout that whole other part, my microphone wasn't plugged into my camera. So I'm sorry if the audio is slightly off. Hopefully this section will be a little bit better. But yeah, so obviously some of the other quick things. So we have pretty good food here, I would say. We are the home of the chicken wing. So that is pretty cool. We do have a pretty good mixture of people here, especially on the west side of Buffalo. We have a large Spanish community. I do think Buffalo is known to have relatively pretty good food. We have definitely good pizza, wings. We definitely have good Spanish food. We definitely have actually good Polish food as well. If you hear that noise, that's just our dog. He's just on the other side of this door. He wants to come in here. Well, both of them, they want to come in here, but I'm not letting them. But so we do have pretty good food here. But the one thing I do want to talk about real quickly that I think is a real important thing is the pride. I feel like anyone who's from Buffalo, no matter where you are, we have so much pride. Like I just saw a picture of someone going to the South Pole and they had a Bills flag that they brought there. So the whole Bills Mafia thing, it is definitely true. No matter where you go, you will find people like who are from Buffalo, no matter where you go. And it's something strange about people from Buffalo. No matter what, like you can always spot them out. And I don't know, it is kind of weird, but it is kind of cool though. We do live somewhere where people actually do have pride in it. Now I know a lot of people, including myself, who are from here, you do kind of talk badly about Buffalo. I mean, because quite literally the whole point of me doing this video, because I saw other people doing videos of where they're from, and as I was looking up other places to potentially move to or potentially live, I don't want to live here forever, but there is something about Buffalo that is very unique. It's a cool city, and I do think the city on its just overall, it is on the up and up. But overall though, if you are looking to move here, I would say honestly come and visit. You can do pretty well here if you have a moderately steady job. You can do pretty well here and live comfortably. So definitely though, I think if you're interested, come check it out. I mean, worst come to worst, come to a Bills game, watch people literally throw people through tables. I don't know where that started from, but the whole Bills Mafia thing, literally like people getting the table and like slamming people through tables. That's like literally on Barstool Sports. That's literally like all that they show. But I don't know. There's much more to Buffalo than just that. But like that, I'm going to interview here. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a like. Check out my channel. I normally don't do videos like this, but I figured I'll do something a little bit different for today. And don't worry guys, if you're one of my normal subscribers, we're going to be getting back to the normal content very shortly. But I thought there's something a little bit different, and thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.